So here's another thing the purpose of God is not. Your purpose is not dependent on how the world does things.
Right.
It's not. You're not dependent on your job. You're not dependent on whether anybody likes you or not. You're not dependent upon whether your boss is a good person or a bad person. You're dependent on God. I'm doing exactly what you told me to do. That's it. It's no more than that. Here he said, what did he say? Teach people to do my commands.
Yes.
Great. What's his command? Love people, love God. You do those two things, and you listen to the Holy Spirit on a daily basis and on a all day basis. Get to the point where you can hear him, and that takes time. It isn't overnight,
Okay.
but he's there to lead you and guide you all the time. So let me give you an example. When we started the circus, I had $400. Now you can't start a circus with $400. Okay?
Of course
Just
not.
telling you. I had no equipment, I had no costumes, I had no music, I had nothing. But I understood how the kingdom worked. And so
Okay.
I took $200. Now, let me back up. I had a place where I could go buy all the equipment I would need
Mm-hmm.
for a ridiculously low price of $700. Thousands of dollars worth of equipment. So I said, Lord, I don't have that. I'm going to take 200 of the 400. I'm going to give it to this missionary as seed for
Right.
you to bring back to me, however you want to do it, what I need to go and buy that equipment. And I have to have that equipment. I have to go get it by next Friday. This was a Friday. I said, I got
Right.
to go get it by next Friday. And it was an all-day drive away. So I gave that money on a Friday. On Sunday, I got fired from my job, which was it was just a miscommunication. That's all it was. Nothing more than that, but they weren't budging. On Monday, a young man knocked on my door in the afternoon, and he was from my church. Now, at this point, nobody knew there was a circus. We didn't have a circus. It was
Right.
just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew about it. And this young man, he came, a couple of people in our church knew, but the church only had about 10 people in it. So it wasn't like, there was hundreds of people walking around with this idea. So he had two envelopes in his hand. He said, this is for you, and this is for your circus. He said, I received an inheritance, and the Lord told me I'm supposed to give this to you.
Oh, wow.
And then he walked away. The one for me had $400 in it. I remember I gave 200 away. It says 400. I got my first paycheck from the Lord. Great. The other one had, guess how much?
700?
$700. Right. So there's $1,100 in 2 days. It doesn't work like that every time. It doesn't work that fast every time, but it
Right.
will work. So that was on Monday. On Wednesday, because I was going to leave on Thursday to go down and pick up the equipment, I got a check in the mail from a woman that I don't think I ever met, ever. And it was a check made out to the Christian Circus for $1,000.
Wow.
I don't know who she was. I don't know how she knew, but there we were. So that allowed us to get even more equipment, to put down payments on things, get costumes, do all kinds of stuff. And a couple months later, we had our first show, and it went strong for the next 12 years. What am I saying? I'm saying it wasn't dependent upon whether I had a job. In fact, the job got taken from me. But my wife and I had already decided we are not going to use our personal money for ministry. We're
Right.
not doing that. We're not going to go and support this circus with our money, right? It's you are going to supply because this is your idea.
Right.
He's like, yeah, sounds good. First of all, let me take that job away from you so you can keep your word. He didn't take my job away. But what it did was it put me in a position where the only way it could work was if God came through. There was no other way. And so he came through. And I could tell you story after story after story for the last 40 years of that happening over and over and over again, where God does things outside the normal world way. The world way, go get a loan,
Yes.
take whatever money you're earning and use that as you can, beg people, send out tons of letters. I'm not against that if God tells you to do that.